It's week 2 of the French Open, and on the men's side of things, the tournament is wide open with so many guys having an opportunity to claim this year's championship. What's up, everybody? It's John Eric Polai, and I'm really looking forward to week 2 here at Roland Garros, especially on the men's side of things. I did a video on the women's tournament. That tournament is also shaping up to be a very good finish, but this men's tournament, wide open. So many people could claim it. I know right now the betting favorite is Carlos Alcaraz. So let's start with his half of the bracket. This one has, I think, a little bit more clarity here as to what's going to happen. We saw earlier today, as the time I'm posting this matchup had already wrapped up, that both Carlos Alcaraz and Stefanos Tsitsipas advanced in round 4. Those two guys playing each other in the quarterfinals, that's going to be a very fun matchup there. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out. Let's not forget, Stefanos Tsitsipas did win the Monte Carlo Championship earlier in this clay season. He's on his best surface. He is a former finalist at the French Open, taking on Carlos Alcaraz, who many people, I think, coming into this year's tournament, or at least at the start of the year, would have had him as the favorite. I know I shifted my prediction who would win, and we'll get to that later on here, but the other guy on that little side of the bracket there, Jannik Sinner. Who would have thought he had a hip injury coming into this year's French Open? He's been playing so well as of late. He's looking every bit of the part as a guy who may indeed become the world number one. Because let's remember, if Novak Djokovic doesn't make the finals, it's going to be Jannik Sinner who's going to be the new world number one, irregardless of what Sinner does. So obviously that half of the bracket, I think we have three guys really contention there. Sinner, Alcaraz, Tsitsipas. But now to the other side of the bracket. This is where things are going to get really fun here in week 2. You have a couple guys that maybe it's a good feel-good story, like a Taylor Fritz or a Holger Rune, and I'm even surprised that Daniil Medvedev's still sticking around. Of course, the clay, not his best surface. I know he did make a quarterfinal before at Roland Garros, but still, overall, not the best surface there for Daniil Medvedev. But then you have the guys that you're probably looking at, probably the favorites to come out on this side of the bracket, but nothing's a guarantee for any of these guys. We'll start with Novak Djokovic. Now, how could it not be guaranteed for Novak Djokovic, right? The world number one, probably the greatest player of all time. You can definitely make a case for that. Well, he's having a very bad 2024, right? We all know that. It's been very bad this year for Novak Djokovic. And right when you think he's starting to roll, right? We saw, I thought the commentators did a great job in round 1 of this year's French Open, saying that maybe Novak hasn't been motivated as much with these smaller tournaments. But now, here we go, major championship. He's trying to chase down championship number 25, surpass Margaret Court. He's going to be so motivated. Started off looking that way, right? He raced out, winning in straight sets. Then in his round 3 matchup, getting over very late at night, had to go 5 sets. He loses a tiebreaker in there, loses a set 6-2. These are so uncharacteristic of Novak Djokovic, and it's definitely still a sign of concern. I am by no stretch of the imagination saying that Novak Djokovic is going to come out of this half of the bracket. I'm not confident saying that. Now, I wouldn't be surprised either because he's still Novak Djokovic, and we know how mentally strong he is and whatnot, but still, Novak Djokovic going to have to step it up if he wants to come out of this half of the bracket. Then there's also Casper Ruud out there. Ruud, two-time former finalist here at the French Open, losing the last 2 finals at Roland Garros. Did win a clay tournament early in the year, a 500 event in Barcelona, lost in the finals of Monte Carlo to Tsitsipas. Definitely still alive, but a lot of moments of concern here for Team Ruud as well. And then there's also Alexander Zverev. Now, I picked Alexander Zverev to win this year's French Open. I like the way that he was playing coming into this year's tournament. Just won the Italian Open. He's serving very well. That backhand's very good. If he gets that forehand rolling, he's just about unstoppable. But then he has a 5-set thriller that he has to come back and win, down a double break in a 5th set. So all of a sudden, you're looking at this half of the bracket, it's like, well, who the hell is going to come out of this? Nobody's really cementing themselves on that half of the bracket. At least in the other half, you have 3 guys that you have as a front runner. This one here, completely wide open. I cannot wait to see how this is all going to shape itself up. A lot of big matchups out there possibly for us. We might have a Djokovic and a Ruud, or a Djokovic and a Zverev, or Ruud and Zverev. Then you're going to have maybe, we do know guaranteed, we're going to have Alcaraz, we're going to have versus Tsitsipas. We might even have, obviously, a winner of that, maybe line up with Jannik Sinner eventually in the tournament. A lot of fun matchups out there possibly here in week 2. It's going to be a very exciting end to this year's French Open. Can't wait to see it. I'm so invested. I cannot wait to see how this year's championship is going to play itself out here at Roland Garros.